Okay, we'll get this started then. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jody Mott, and I am the Executive Director of the Holland Marsh Growers Association, and I would like to welcome you to hopefully our last virtual Zoom of AgKnowledge. Hopefully next year at this time we can all be fist bumping, having coffee together, and embracing everyone as we miss everyone these days. We're going to go over a few housekeeping rules. If you have questions, we will acknowledge them. We ask you to put your hand up by raising it in the app. If I don't see you, I do have some people helping me, so I do apologize, as we do have a couple pages of people here, and we'll get to them as quick as we can. Anybody who doesn't know how to use Zoom, if you go to the bottom right of your screen and use your cursor and your mouse, you should get a reaction button in there. There is a raise hand. If not, and you can't figure it out, raise your hand and wave at us. We all like to see somebody smiling and waving at us each day, and we'll get you that way as well. And also there is the chat box, and I know that there'll be folks on here helping me keep an eye on that as well, because again, we're octopuses on Zoom here, and we'll do the best that we can. So we appreciate everybody taking the time today to come out to AgKnowledge. We understand that in these times, there's a lot of information going on, and we tried to pick a slate that would be interesting to everybody in a way as we move forward through this pandemic and support everyone. So today, we would also like to thank everybody for coming, and thanking everybody. Without Nottawasaga Futures, we wouldn't be able to keep having this event over and over again. They are a very large support for agriculture in Simcoe, and we appreciate all the work they do, as well as OFA, the County of Simcoe, and the Simcoe Federation of Agriculture as well. They're three key people that we need to keep going forward, as well as the Holland Marsh that keep supporting the farmers as we need to go. So we will kick this off today, and I see in my screen here our MP Terry Duddle, and we're going to let him go first and give us greetings. And I haven't seen his face for a couple of weeks, so welcome, Terry, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Jody, and thank you for the invite. I want to thank certainly Robin Brown for the invitation to be here today and bring greetings on behalf of Simcoe Grey. I notice on here, I want to say hi as well to Minister Mulrooney. Anytime you want to come up here, we got a lot of roads here we can look at, and some bridges if you're bored. I just want to, once again, and I hope we're together. Same thing. I'm hoping this will be, and I'm confident it's going to be the last time, because I certainly like getting together with everyone. I think it's fantastic, and I want to thank as well the County of Simcoe, Simcoe County Fed of Ag and the OFA and yourself for realizing how important it is that we work together to bring awareness to programs that are available, as well as to bring awareness just to farming in general. From a federal perspective, just quickly, I just want to say we're still pushing our definitely the importance of farming. Sometimes I don't think they get it, quite frankly, when it comes to the carbon tax. It's affecting a lot of the farmers. We're hearing that. We're continuing to push that there should be some kind of program exemption to that, because not only is it a cost for the farmers, whether they're in, whether it's all farmers pretty much, whether they're in, crops, whether they're in, could be milk, dairy, any of those boards at all. Some of them are locked into costs, and this is affecting them. So we're hearing that a lot. So we're going to continue to work to hopefully bring that to light, because really it makes it more expensive for all of us on here. And I think sometimes what's lost is people have to realize that these careers in agriculture have to be profitable, and we have to be profitable for those individuals and those families to continue to grow. So I can speak on behalf of myself. My sister's a dairy farmer, and there's 3 kids, and none of them want to get into that industry. So we have to make sure it's profitable. And hopefully sometimes when we find out these new technologies that maybe they work so long that maybe it'll lighten up the load and they'll get into that. So we'll continue to push on their behalf for that. But I just want to thank everyone that's on this, certainly the farmers, certainly in my area, across Canada, for all that you do. Sometimes it's forgot by some people who puts the food on the table. So I'm going to continue to fight for you, and look forward to, I can stay on for half an hour, then I got another meeting, but I'm looking forward to hearing some of the discussion here this morning.
Thank you for taking the time to meet with us. I know from experience and from what we do with Terry, his door is always open, his phone is always on, and he's a great champion for agriculture. So keep bugging him as we do the other MPs, and they're always championing and supporting us. Speaking of MPs, Scott Davidson, there's our Rick Mercer of MPs. He's out and about. Who knows where he's going to pop up today? He's a little busy, and he said he does send greetings, and he said he will try to pop on shortly. I'm just trying to see, did John make it on here? I think he's out and about, but I believe he's popping in soon. So we're going to turn it over to our MPP, Carolyn Mulrooney, who's a champion as all for all of us. We appreciate everything she does, and we always look forward to working with Caroline, and we always know that she's always very accessible to everybody who she supports as well. Carolyn, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jody. And I have to say that I'm really chuckling over here of your description of Scott as the Rick Mercer MP. That's a pretty good one. No, he is a very passionate about all sorts of things. But I just want to acknowledge Terry. It's great to see you and acknowledge your words. You spoke so personally about a lot of the challenges that farmers are facing, and especially as they look to the future and passing down these essential businesses to their families. So thank you for your words, and thank you, Jody, and to everyone. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to the AgKnowledge Forum this year. I look forward to being with you in person next year as well. But it's a real pleasure to be here. Ontario is built on the back of our agriculture industry, and in particular, the hardworking farmers who supply communities right across Ontario with food to put on our dinner tables each and every night. It's no secret that the last couple of years have been a great challenge to all of us, but in particular for those who are working to keep our food supply strong. Farmers and food processors quickly stepped up to the plate to implement prevention and control measures that protected workers, reduced the risks of COVID-19 transmission, and ensured that fresh food got to its destination. The farming community demonstrated great resilience and strength throughout the pandemic. But as each of us knows, mental health challenges often go unseen. Running a farm means working 365 days a year and dealing with unpredictable weather, commodity prices, and increasing production costs. Add in a pandemic, and these pressures have an increased effect on the mental health of farmers and their families. And that's why our government is so focused on providing the necessary funding for agri-specific mental health programs. Through numerous roundtable discussions and other engagements with farmers, we're doing everything we can to help address these specific challenges. Because as I said, as we all know, the agriculture sector plays a huge role in the success of our province. So I just want to take a moment to thank each of the agri-food workers in York, Simcoe, and across Ontario who kept working throughout the pandemic so that our food supply could remain strong. And in this part of Ontario, you need not look further than the Holland Marsh Growers Association and the Holland Marsh Growers to see the responsibility of making sure that nutritious vegetables reach consumers. And their work has led them to become stewards of the land that they work on. Each morning, farmers across our province wake up to plant, grow, and harvest for us. And now more than ever, we must support them and their communities. When consumers choose local food, they're helping to build a strong farm and food sector, which supports good jobs throughout the province. So I want to once again express my gratitude for what each of you does for the province. And on behalf of our entire government, we promise to have your backs. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. We would like to thank our MP and our MPP for showing and coming out today. I know that everybody is busy. I believe that we may have one or two more popping up here and there, and if we do, we will bring greetings from them as well. I know that John Broussard had supposed to be coming, but I believe in their busy schedule, something must have popped up, but I'm sure you never know who's going to pop up in these things, so we'll wait and see who comes. I would also like to thank, I believe that we have 3 counselors from different areas on the line. And if I do mix up names, I do apologize. I believe that we have Donna Jebb from New Tech, Donna Oceanegs from Innisfil, and I apologize if I do, sorry, mix up your name. And I believe it's Deborah Chanix from Agilitas, and I'm pretty sure I mixed that one up as well. Would anybody like to take the second, and I'll give you guys greetings as well? We'll start with Donna Jeb first. Are you on the line? Let's go to Innisfil. Donna, are you there? Would you like to take a second and greet everyone? I know I'm putting everybody on the spot.
No problem. Thank you very much from Innisfil, from, representing the farmers that we have in our community, and just bordering on Bradford with our neighbors as well. And always I appreciate our Minister Mulrooney, giving the plug that we always need to look at supporting local and supporting our farmers when we go out there. And I think today is really important about, the awareness and the challenges that are facing all farmers and our municipalities, and what we can look at and doing to make a difference. Joining me from Innisfil is Councillor Bill Van Berkel, who's attending today as well. And I know that Councillor Alex Waters, who has an environmental background, was trying to get in. I don't see his name yet, but I'm sure he'll pop in shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for letting us know that those councillors are with us as well. And we would like to say, I know that Councillor Mulrooney had to leave, and we want to thank her for coming in to spend some time with us. So we're going to start moving on here, and I apologize. I believe that we've gotten all the councillors that are in and around identified on our call, and we thank you for taking the time as well. I'm going to jump into the favorite piece. I get the privilege of going over the wonderful elephant in the room of what should we be doing with COVID on farms right now. Becky, if you can put my slide up, that would be great. I've had the privilege over the past 2 years of working with both health units in York and in Simcoe, making sure that everybody in agriculture knows all the rules and regs and keeping everybody safe. So they've basically supplied me with a great slide here today. I know some people say I have ag workers, or I don't have migrant workers, I don't have to do this. Everybody needs to know in this call that all the rules and regs and the guidelines apply to everyone, not just if you have migrant workers. It's about keeping your farm safe. The biggest conversation before I go over the slide, I always hear, well, there's just my wife and myself on the farm. If there's just your wife and yourself on the farm and you guys go out past your house and you're out in the yard, you're considered 2 ag workers. Ministry of Labor, if they really would like to, can basically say there's 2 workers here, you've broke the 6-foot barrier, where's your mask? And you can actually get fined. I do know, just to give everybody a caution, in the past few days, Ministry of Labor has been out and about. They've been in the areas in South Simcoe and North Simcoe looking at your COVID plans. What does the COVID plan look like for your farm? What does the COVID plan look like for your farmers? What does the COVID plan look like everywhere? This is the biggest thing. They're also saying, knowing that people are starting to get tired of COVID, they're still looking for masks. My understanding, there was quite a bit of warnings written yesterday. So you have to be diligent on this. So I'll go over quickly this slide that we've gotten from the health unit. And if anybody ever has any questions or doesn't want to ask the health unit, please feel free to reach out to me. I have the connections. I'll make the call. I'll get clarification for you. If you have an outbreak as well, we can help you with that. So our door is always open for this. I think I can do this in my sleep. So please, again, reach out to us anytime you need, if you have anything that you need to deal with COVID or you can't get a hold of the health unit. So for guidance for international agriculture workers in the ag food sector, vaccines. Workers have been offered vaccinations at the airport for first, second, and third doses as they become available. So if you have workers and they're coming through, they're being offered a third dose at the airport. If they're brand new, you might get a first or second, they can get their first and second as well. All your vaccines, if anybody hasn't had a first or a second or a third, can be obtained very quickly locally. If you're having issues with this, reach out to me. I think we've done half of the farms in Simcoe arranging those, and we can continue to support everybody. Anybody who has an unvaccinated worker, if you're getting migrant workers in, you must quarantine them for 14 days upon arrival, and all the costs fall back to the farmer. Keep that in mind. So in housing, we'll go quickly through there. Precautions in the housing: hand washing, cleaning and disinfecting, physical distancing, 2 distances in those sleep areas. The bunk beds need to have 2 feet, 6 feet apart. Everybody asks that on a daily basis still. Improve ventilation, HEPA filters. I do know that if you register with the Ontario government right now and you do have egg workers, you get a free HEPA filter. So take advantage of that great program. Daily activity screenings of everyone. So you're supposed to be doing daily screenings on any worker on the farm, whether it's a migrant worker or not. And on the migrant workers, you still need to do them on the non-work days. You also have to maintain cohorts. Precautions in the workplace. This pertains to everybody on a daily basis. Everybody on your farm has to do, at this point, still a daily screening of everyone entering. So if there's 5 of you that work on the farm in your family, you're still supposed to be filling out the paperwork that everybody's still okay and checking in every day. It's workplace safety. It is important. If they come and ask you, have you done it? And say Leah and I and someone else all live in the same farm, we all have to fill out that paperwork every day. If Ministry of Labor comes into your farm, they're going to expect that, even though you are family members. You need to have an attendance policy for workers. Everybody still must maintain masking if you're breaking the 6-foot distancing. You must have a COVID plan for your farm, and you must have a policy for your farm as well. Distancing or masking is huge. That's the biggest thing. Everybody forgets the 6-foot distance, and I don't see that going away anytime soon. And then as well, cohorting helps as well for prevention. When you have a COVID outbreak in your farm, you have to remember still that the biggest piece is there's a 5 and 5 rule. We've taken 10 days down to 5 and 5. 5 being if you are a positive case or you have signs and symptoms, you are to self-isolate for 5 days. When you come out after those 5 days, you're still to wear, anytime leaving the home, you are to have a mask on for 5 days and maintain 6-foot distance at all times. If you can't do that, you are not to attend work or that activity. So the big piece is masking, and the 6-foot distance has to be maintained at all times after. If you are a close contact and deemed a close contact, you are to self-monitor. Self-monitoring requires you wearing a mask at all times. Oh, thank you. Sorry, Beck. If you can bring that up, there you go. If you self-monitoring at all times, wearing a mask at all times, and 6-foot distance when you're out of the house. And you'll see here that there's unvaccinated and vaccinated. So the rules that I've explained are unvaccinated and for those 12 and under. Anybody who is unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, or immunocompromised still need to follow the 10-day rules. If you have any questions, please reach out to the health unit, or if you don't feel comfortable and you want the answers again, I can help in that. The biggest piece is cohorts also have to isolate together. So again, if I have COVID in my home, my household, anybody living in my household, if I have COVID, have to stay isolated for those 5 days. And that's where people are missing that piece of it. They're saying, well, I just have one person in, so they can, and I can still go on. Even if I have 3 vaccines, I still have to isolate with the case to my house. So that's always the big piece of it. Does anybody have any questions around this wonderful topic that I know everybody's tired of? As these changes are going, we're going to keep sharing them. And this group here, as well as the changes come through in the next bit, I will share them with Robin, and she can share them with everyone as well, because the health unit is really working hard to make sure that everybody has the information that they need going forward. So I'll let, I don't see any questions at this time. I know everybody just loves this topic. And as well, we will send these slides out in our presentation as well, so people can use them, because I know, again, and please share them. I know that everybody feels that, oh, we don't have to do this because we're a family on a farm, or we don't have to do this because of this. It's still going on. As the mandate lifts for the Q codes next week, you still have to wear a mask. And even when the mask lifts, we're still going to have COVID procedures of how to deal with it. So it's very important everybody acknowledges and pays attention to the changes as they come forward. based on I don't see any hands, I'm going to welcome one of my wonderful colleagues, Leah from the OFA, and she's going to go over some of the information that OFA has to offer for their members, because I know we all get a lot of questions. What's the benefit program look like? And we felt that at this point, it would be really important that everybody knows what OFA can help you with your benefit program. Leah, it's all yours.
Thanks, Jody. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for allowing us this time to give you a little brief overview here about the member benefit program. I know as an organization, we try our best to get this information out to our members, but it never hurts to go over it again. So I'm not a big screen reader, so I'm gonna wing this. And as you can see here, our benefit program, it is part and package of our strategic plan. And I think the thing that I want our members to take away here from today is, even if you're not going to use a specific program, I think that having the knowledge of that program that you can share with others is helpful, and you might be able to use it as a negotiating piece during your own purchase of X, Y, or Z. So next slide, please, Becky. So this is just a little overview of some of our statements, mission statement there, and how these statements connect to our strategic plan. And most importantly for me as a member service rep is giving unparalleled service to our members and collaborating in the community in events like this and with our county federations. So I work closely with the Simcoe County Federation of Agriculture, York Region Federation of Agriculture, and the Peel Federation of Agriculture, and they all do their own events, and I try my best to support them in their endeavors. This screen talks a little bit about, how the member benefits partners that we provide to our members, their exclusive deals, how that kind of fits into trying to give you benefits in savings for your farm business. And we do have one staff person that is dedicated to this member program, and always working hard to keep engaged on that. So this slide is just a little bit about, 38,000 members strong is OFA, and we're quite proud of this member benefit program, and it is designed to save you money, and it is fairly easy, I think, to access. Next slide, please. There we go. So I think I kind of hit this already a little bit about, it's pricing for your farm inputs, and it's a tool for you to use to get the best deal that you can for your farm business. Next slide, please. I think we just go to the next one, Becky. So this, we kind of have our benefit partners categorized. So the thing I want to talk about here with our discounts that are available from Dodge, Ram, and General Motors. Not so much on the Dodge side, but I do hear from members that are negotiating at GM, and you need to remember that they have two streams. So they have a retail side, and that is where you would see deals advertised online or in a paper, and a deal may be the purchase price, or you may have a financing deal. So that's one stream. The stream that you're accessing through your benefit partner discount with OFA is the fleet discount side. And so that's a little bit different approach. But again, I do hear that because of vehicle shortages and the component shortages going on right now, that in some cases it may be more beneficial to go on the retail side, but using that OFA fleet discount as a negotiating tool to get the best price that you possibly can. And to access that, we're encouraging our members, before you go shopping for a vehicle, to contact our member relations department. And you need a special code to use with your Dodge dealer, and with GM, you actually need a authorization letter, and they can email that to you and copy your salesperson as well. So next slide, please. So farm management, this is a big one. Succession planning has become an important tool on family operations. And I'm going to put a little plug in that OFA is having a webinar on March 1st with Farm Life to discuss their program and farm succession planning. It is happening at noon, and it's an hour and a half, so it'll run till 1:30. And you can easily register for that on our website, on our homepage. There's a little bit of an information box about that, and when you click on it, it'll take you to a bit of a blurb about the session, and then you can register there, and you'll get a link emailed to you to attend that. So encourage you, if you have any plans in the future, that this might be a really good step to gain some further knowledge about how to tackle that succession plan. And then twice a year, there's a energy and fertilizer report that's sent out to members. And I think a lot of people appreciate that knowledge from that report too. So next page. Thank you. So financials, Scotiabank, again, everybody has their banking favorites, and I would encourage you to look at what they offer and use it as a negotiating tool and leverage with your own lenders. Cooperators, we held a very successful webinar yesterday that was about insurance on farm properties, and I believe they had over 300 participants in that. That whole session was recorded, and it will be available to access on our website, I think, by the end of the week. NFP, that is a member benefit that provides insurance for our members, group insurance or individual, so healthcare, vision, travel, dental. And that's a pretty big one for farms that do have family employees or other employees. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. And National Leasing, they provide financing for new and used equipment. So another really good member benefit to access, that you have options for financing. Next slide, please. And this one, I think it's pretty well known that we have a discount at Marks and TSC, which is now PV Mart. And just a warning that PV Mart is going to switch over to a digital card. So Marks is staying with a paper card, and TSC PV Mart is switching to a digital. So that will come out to the members sometime in the very near future, in my understanding. Next slide, please. This is pretty self-explanatory. Honda discount there on power equipment, generators, pumps, and then your ATV side-by-sides. So we appreciate that support, and a lot of farmers use those small engine components, and Honda is pretty widely respected as a good engine supplier. So again, you can get details about what specific discounts are on each individual product through our member relations department or on our website. Next slide, please. And again, communications here. So everybody gets a copy monthly of Better Farming, and that's complimentary. And tell us that they do have a discount for our members of $50 on any of the devices that you purchase there, as well as they'll roll in whatever promotions are currently engaged with tell us directly. So it's worth it to give them a call and have a chat and compare that with other communication providers to get your best bang for your buck. Next slide, please. Maybe.
I know Becky may be having issues with her internet. We'll just give her a second to see if she can come through. There you go.
Yay. And so this one is a newer one in the last few years. So discount on travel rental or car rental when you're traveling, and then hotel discounts. So again, that's another company, and you give them a call and you tell them what you're going, what your needs are, and they'll get you hooked up as best they can with a discount on rentals. So next slide, please. And this is how you access your member benefit program if you're an OFA member. So it's our 800 number and member relations. You can directly call me or email me, and I'll do my best to get you pointed in the right direction. And of course, online on our website, there is a whole section with lots of detail about each benefit partner and what they offer. And I think there's one or two more slides there, Becky. And you can go to the next one, please. So this is just a copy of a flyer that we typically hand out at shows, which, as Jody mentioned, we're hoping that starts to happen in the near future, that we get out and about again. And it just a bit more explanation about each member benefit partner and what they provide. And I think there's one more, but that's the end of my presentation. So I thank you. And if there is questions, I think maybe in the chat, there was a couple there, but I'll do my best to answer them.
Leah, there's two questions in the chat for you. How or who would a business approach? And I apologize, I have a puppy who wants to talk, so hopefully he won't talk too much. Everybody can appreciate that. At least we're part of agriculture. Basically, would a business approach, who would the business approach at the OFA to discuss the partnerships for the membership benefits? And I believe there was in that slide who they can contact. So I think at the end of this, we will put all the slides together and send the deck out. I know that this presentation as well, it will be available after, so we can do those two pieces as well. So that was answered with Leah's slide, and we'll get that back to Meredith. The other one, is there any benefit program partners sharing with commercial truck dealers such as Ryder or Penske? I believe you had one truck company in there, but I didn't see these. Did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, at this time, it is Dodge, Ram, and GM. As I see where you're going there with the more commercial type larger trucks, but at this time, I'm not aware. It could be something that they're working on in the background, but I'm not aware of it as a member benefit partner at this time.
Okay, thank you, Leah. I know everybody's always got questions and about what OFA can do. They're always very supportive of all the farms, and I think this was really important information that we're sharing today. And again, we'll try to share all the slide decks at the end so everybody has the information, because I know sometimes internet screens, it's a little bit hard to see here and there. So we'll make sure that that goes out. I just saw that Deputy Mayor James Leduc from Bradford did join us. We want to welcome him as well. He's always supportive of the Holland Marsh, as well as helping all farmers in Simcoe with his work at the county as well to achieve what they need to do. Welcome, James, and thank you for joining us. And now we're going to move on to in the know of the program, and Lindsay is going to have a conversation for us around mental health and the tools that are out there to assist farmers. Lindsay, are you good, and are you around here that we can bring you forward?
Yes, I'm here. I was wondering if it's possible to enable screen share so I can share my presentation.
Becky, are you able to facilitate that? Lindsay, let me know if it's happening.
Not yet.
Or maybe Robin can help. I am just the voice. I have no technology enablements here. So I am the voice. You guys are stuck with me. Isn't that fun, entertaining?
There we go. I've got it now.
Hi, Lindsay.
Perfect.
Yes. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So first of all, thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Lindsay Bebbington, and I am the Program Manager of In the Know at the Canadian Mental Health Association Ontario Division. So just an overview of what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to introduce you to the Canadian Mental Health Association and who exactly we are, what resources we can provide overall. I'll spend the bulk of the time talking about In the Know specifically, the first of our agricultural mental health literacy programs and how it came to be. And then lastly, I just want to share a little bit about the Farmer Wellness Initiative. Hopefully many of you are familiar with it already, but if not, I'm very excited to share that information with you for the first time today. So the Canadian Mental Health Association was incorporated in 1918 on a national level. So we're just a little bit over 100 years old. We are in all of the provinces and one territory, and there are 75 community-based branches and regions across the country, 28 of which are here in Ontario, ensuring that there is service across the entire province. The purpose of the Canadian Mental Health Association is to work to improve the lives of all Ontarians through leadership, collaboration, and the continual pursuit of excellence in community-based mental health and addiction services. Our vision is a society that embraces and invests in the mental health of all people, and our values are self-determination, creativity, equity, diversity, and inclusion, social responsibility, social justice, and integrity. So looking at Ontario specifically, we work very closely with those 28 branches founded in 1952. We work to inform policy, planning, and service delivery, providing reliable, current, accurate information and analysis of mental health and addictions issues. We work together strategically to advance systemic issues that impact people with lived experience and the mental health system. And overall, we work to support, engage, and champion community mental health and addictions. So we do have quite an array of options as far as programs go. I'm going to talk about these ones extremely briefly so that I can dive right into the agriculture specific programs. But Mood Walks is a province-wide initiative that promotes physical activity in nature or green exercise as a way to improve both physical and mental health. Resilient Minds supports career and volunteer firefighters. Talk Today is the most comprehensive mental health program for amateur sports in Canada. Bounce Back is a free skill building program designed to help adults and youth 15 plus manage low mood, mild to moderate depression and anxiety, stress, or worry. Mental Health Works provides capacity building workshops on workplace mental health to both employers and employees. And Living Life to the Full is an 8-week course for individuals from all walks of life, providing them with effective tools to maximize their ability to manage life's challenges. And then that, of course, brings us to our agricultural focused programs In the Know and the Farmer Wellness Initiative, which I will dive a little deeper into. And if anyone has any questions about the other ones, I will post my contact information in the chat after I finish the presentation, and you can feel free to reach out. So as I said, In the Know, it's the first of our agriculture-focused initiatives at CMHA Ontario. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into how exactly it came to be and the knowledge that it aims to instill. So you're going to see some statistics here on the screen. It was conducted, or a national survey of farmer mental health was conducted in 2016, and it showed that 35% of farmers meet the classifications for depression, 45% of farmers report high stress, 58% of farmers meet the classifications for anxiety, And 68% of farmers are more susceptible than general populations to chronic stress, which can lead to physical and mental illness. And not pictured on this slide, but another extremely noteworthy statistic is that 40% of producers across Canada reported that they would feel uneasy seeking professional help due to what people may think. And so those stigmas are very much there and very concerning. And it's important to note that this study was conducted in 2016, and we are all very aware of the curveballs that life has thrown at us in the last couple of years and the increased challenges that has brought for all of us. So it really makes programs like In the Know more important than ever. So it was this particular study that spurred the team at the Ontario Veterinary College, University of Guelph, Dr. Brianna Hagen and Dr. Andrea Jones-Bitten to develop In the Know and pilot and evaluate it. And so they worked very closely with individuals from the agriculture community as well as mental health experts to create In the Know, which aims to build mental health knowledge and increase help seeking among farmers. So the intent of the training is to increase our understanding of mental health and wellness on the farm, create comfort in having conversations about mental health, and raise awareness and reduce stigma. So I think a very good analogy to look at when we're talking about the agriculture community is that every farmer has a toolbox, and they have an array of tools that if a challenge comes up on the farm, you have a lot to work through to try and fix it yourself. So what we're trying to do with In the Know is build your own toolbox, so to speak, for any mental health challenges that may come up. And just like sometimes on the farm, you have to call the plumber, you have to call the electrician because it is outside your wheelhouse. Sometimes when you're struggling with a mental health challenge or your neighbor is struggling with a mental health challenge, they need to call in a professional, and we want to just decrease the stigma there and make it so that it's something that people are more comfortable in doing and seeking that help. As a reminder, it's not a course that trains you to be a counselor or give professional advice, but it is going to increase your knowledge and give you resources to help build that toolkit and help you find your way to that professional advice if you do need it. So the learning objectives are to provide an overview of stress, anxiety, depression, acute trauma, substance use, and suicide. And it'll help you identify signs and symptoms of mental distress and provides information on how to have a safe conversation about mental health with somebody who may be struggling, and overall provides an overview of ways to support mental health. So the program itself is a free training. It does take 4 hours to complete. It's largely been delivered virtually currently just because of the climate that we are in, but we are very eager to shift to hybrid and in-person models as guidelines do allow. And it's designed for farmers, their families, and those who are involved in and or support the agriculture sector. So it truly is for anyone from your veterinarian to your financial advisor, a crop advisor, your neighbors, your family, and your friends. It covers those topics of stress, depression, anxiety, substance use, and how to start a conversation around mental well-being. And I really can't stress that last point enough, because although it's going to give you those skills to look after yourself, and that is fantastic, but it's also going to help you support the community around you. And that's more important now than ever. And these courses are facilitated by a mental health professional using real life examples from the agriculture industry. And our team at the branches that do facilitate the program, they've all completed an additional agriculture education course as well, so that they understand the unique challenges that the agriculture community faces. Your day-to-day is much different than a lot of other people's. So before we send them out there to teach In the Know, we ensure that they do have a greater understanding of those unique challenges. So we do have a number of partners that I want to thank with us on In the Know. So of course, the University of Guelph, they developed the program and they have given us a license to use it. So they continue to support us through delivery, promotion, and continual evaluation. And we are really appreciative of that. We also want to acknowledge the collaboration we have with the Ontario Federation of Agriculture. It's very exciting that this has not only helped us grow In the Know and actually get it out there in communities and start to have the program delivered, but it's also grown to creating additional supports for farmers. And it's a relationship that we are very proud of. I also want to thank the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. They have really stepped up to say that they are placing a high importance on mental health initiatives for that farming community specifically. So we appreciate their funding to ensure that cost is never a barrier of delivery. And that's been very impactful for us in getting this program out there. We also thank Trillium Mutual Insurance. They provided funding which helped us develop the facilitator resources when we were in the early stages of getting ready to deliver In the Know. So we could not have done that without them. And we thank the Gay Lee Foundation for also coming on board to support delivery. Our program participation goals, I think it's important to share the vision that we have. So by September 2023, we are hoping to reach over 5,000 members of the agriculture community. And it's a big goal. We are very much in the early stages, but we are so appreciative of groups like yourself that invite us to join in and create awareness of the program so that we can reach over 5,000 members across the province. If anyone on this call today is interested in a session, we do have one coming up that is local to your area. So the York Federation of Agriculture has partnered with our York South Simcoe CMHA branch. So on April 5th, they're having a two-part session. Earlier, you may remember I said it does take 4 hours to complete. So they've tried to split it up a little so that you can hopefully still get everything you need to get done on the farm done that day. So it'll be April 5th from 10 a.m. till noon, a bit of a long lunch break there, and then 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. to finish. And Danielle's contact info is there to register for the session, but I will post that in the chat as well so that you can get connected after. And it is open to York and surrounding areas. So if you're thinking you can't go because you live in Simcoe, don't let that stop you if you happen to be available on April 5th. If that date doesn't work for you, then please reach out to me, or if you want to book a session for your local group, then yes, connect with me and we will make sure that we can get that set up for you. So the last thing I want to touch on before I sign off today is the Farmer Wellness Initiative. So this launched on January 1st, and it allows farmers across Ontario and members of their household to access up to 4 free counseling sessions with a mental health professional. And it's important to note that that's 4 sessions per issue per year. So if right now you are struggling with anxiety and you need some help to cope with that, then you can call that number there on the screen. If you use up your 4 sessions and then a couple months down the road you're struggling with depression, you can call again. It's a new challenge, and don't hesitate to call that number again. So the number is 1-866-267-6255. And I think it's more important than ever that we all save that number in our phones, and you never know when yourself or someone around you may need it. And just to describe the intake process a little bit, because I think some people are a little unclear on what exactly it means when you call this number. So when you call the number, you do reach a counselor, a mental health professional on the other end of the phone. So if you are in crisis at that time, they would be equipped to talk with you through that. And then it starts you into an intake process. So it's going to decrease that wait time to actually get you into your first counseling session with a counselor that understands the agriculture industry and has in agriculture literacy training, so that you limit some of those barriers that people do feel when they reach out. So again, I can't say enough. Let's get that number out there and share it with anybody that may need it. And with that, that brings me to the end of my presentation. I'm happy to take a question if there are any, but I will share my contact information into the chat so that anybody can reach out to myself after, and I'll also put the registration email in there as well for that York session coming up on April 5th.
Lindsay, thank you for taking the time to do this presentation. We as a group, when we were coordinating this AgKnowledge topic, we felt that this is, in the past 2 years especially, was something that needs to be stated. As Minister Mulroney pointed out today, she's working very hard with the Ag Minister and Omnipower, as well as everyone else, to make sure that the farmers have the proper tools for mental health. We know there's been a stigma around it, but everybody needs to know it's okay to ask, it's okay to reach out. And you know what? Whether it's a text, a phone call, a hey, we need help, everybody's there. So this 800 number we appreciate as well. I know that for our members, we will be sharing this deck. We will also be putting it on our website. So if anybody in Simcoe doesn't feel comfortable, we're going to make as many tools possible that we can for the farmers to use. Anybody in agriculture and their workers, it's very, very important that we all support each other. And we know that there is a stigma around this, but we need to get rid of the stigma, and we want to thank everybody for this. I know there's a comment for you there, Lindsay, in the chat, and I'll leave that with you. Everybody is facing, what can we do? How do we do this? Our inputs aren't coming, they're stuck here. Every time you turn around right now, you just think that you've passed a speed bump and there's another speed bump. But I do know that farmers are resilient and they are working together, and everybody works together to support. So us using these tools going forward will make a huge impact, and hopefully we can help everybody get through all this together. And thank you for taking the time to meet with us. And not seeing any further questions, we're going to roll on to technology. Ian McDonald, I've had the pleasure of working with. Good morning, Ian. Ian's going to give us a crash course on technology. We understand that he's got a very small time to do a very large topic. Hopefully going forward next year, we can have Ian come back and do a nice long conversation with us. Without Ian and his crew at Omnipower, I know that agriculture would just be grasping at straws, and he checks out everything, and he's got all sorts of technology out there. And I know for us, for our projects, he's a passion behind the camera and a great partner. Ian, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks very much, Jody. I'll just share my screen here. So they charged me with a great big topic with a short period of time. So I don't know if I'm going to add to your stress or take away from it, but what's going on is sure exciting. And so let's take a little bit of a trip through where technology is going. So Jody, can you see that video now?
I can, but it's a little dark, but we'll work with it.
That's okay. It's going to open itself up just because it's on pause. Do you see it full screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so let's get started. So what I want to start with is, what is technology? And this is sort of a basic piece of expensive farm equipment that everybody knows about, but it's just chock full of technology. Automation, robotics are all part of a piece of equipment that is very common. Same thing happens with a farm tractor. This is the Raven Omni Drive system, and notice that the operator in the tractor cab, this is being controlled completely by the computer, the GPS, and the farm.
Putting my auger out now.
This is another example, and this is a young guy, Matt Reamer from Killarney, Manitoba, who on the internet and because of his smarts, essentially built himself his own cart driving system. So I'm just going to let this run. And
Tractor starting its corner, and I'm gonna catch up to it shortly. I'm sorry, it looks like the video's kind of dusty, but it's because the
So think about this.
it was an interesting thing here
labor
with the tractor getting pretty close to the combine. It wasn't doing that, but it's dusk, and this is the time of day when GPS works the worst. I've noticed that with other equipment, but it looks like it's lined up there. Maybe move it a little further away.
From Matt
You can see the tractor steering away, and now it's straightening out. And now I'm gonna let it go with the grain. So there goes the grain into the hopper. So there I'm pretty much empty. And I'm just gonna push the empty button. And now the tractor's just gonna turn around and come to a stop. You can see it's turning away from me there.
And so now here's some examples from some of the work we were doing this summer. This is the DOT, now known as the Raven Omnipower system. This is with Chuck Bersich from Haggerty Creek. And here he is sitting in his truck cab. He's programmed it. He's able to watch it. He's on the phone doing business while the robot is out in the field doing its thing. So this is in the spring. And then in the fall, we twinned his other DOT with the Rogator to have two machines working in the field at the same time. This is the part that's really intriguing to me, is how do we integrate this robotics and this automation into our current lines of equipment, because they're not going away tomorrow. There's too much money still invested there. But this ability to partner the robot and the person in the field from a work efficiency, labor efficiency, cost perspective is very intriguing. This is Canadian technology that was developed in Saskatchewan. It's since been bought by Raven. Here's something new. I just learned about this one in the fall. This is called the Nexat. It's a German company. They have two of these units in the Ukraine, and they're hoping to bring a couple to North America this coming season. The thing is 80 feet wide. That sprayer is 230 feet wide. This is the harvesting unit. This is how it connects from one unit to the other. And this idea of controlled traffic farming on tracks just offers some really intriguing possibilities for the future. Okay, so this is Farm Droid. We've been working with them. They're sending us one of these right now for next spring. This is both a seeder and a weeder. This is what I call an active robot. It knows precisely to the centimeter where it planted every single seed, so that now it knows where to tell its weeding arms where to take the weeds out without having to identify the plant itself. It operates extremely slowly. By that, this is a Canadian robot. It's called the Romeo from Oshawa, and here it's up at the muck station seeding and cultivating. And you'll notice when it turns around, there's an apparatus on the front of it. Okay, you can see that cylinder, that's a soil optics machine. So as we move to the next clip. So here in the fall, soybeans have come off, and now we're sensing a field through the soil optics to determine the zones, the management zones, and other criteria associated with that landscape, so that we can use that to precision manage these fields. This is up at Chapman's in June or July. These are Neo Oz robots from France, and we had them out in the celery. And you'll see here in a minute, they're going to have to navigate the tire tracks from the pivot. And you go, look at these little things. How can they be effective? But there they are, cultivating away. You see them hitting the tire track right there, and he was able to make it through. This is Neo's robot, the Dino. We had it shipped into Canada in October, I think it was, Jody, and we had a demo day out on the eastern part of the marsh in October, and we just got it going, and this one will be tested quite a bit this coming season. Okay, this is the Nexus Goat. It's an active robot. So notice the arms moving. It's using artificial intelligence through a library of weed and crop plants to determine which plants it physically is going to pull out. So it travels very slowly across the field. You'll notice that this is up at Simcoe in July, where we had a tour with a number of you from the marsh. This is sort of talking to what are the mainline companies doing. So this is AGCO's Fendt division working on the Xavier project. These are little robotic seeders planting corn in this case. And again, they identify exactly where each seed is dropped. When they empty, they go back to a trailer that they go inside, get charged and get refilled and go back out. You'll see that they're mapped. And so each one is communicating with the others. If one breaks down, it goes and helps the other. Notice how many are deployed, the concept of swarm technology. So how do you replace a big tractor and planter with a bunch of little robots? Well, this is the concept right here. And so then what's John Deere doing? So this is an interesting unit. Watch the change in size. Look at the size difference. Look at how it works. That thing can actually drive itself with wheels without the cultivator on the back through the gyroscopic things. It's fully electric. And that's going to be a big change I think we're going to see is the electrification of farm vehicles as opposed to diesel powered. So there's a lot of interest in drones. We're in the drone pit. This is at Agri-Food, late October. And I want you to watch what's happening here. I'll point out some to look at. We've seen cover crops. And right now, you can see it's starting to see the cover crops. So the other aspect that you're going to see in a minute is that it's operating during a rain. So we would not be able to do that with conventional seeding equipment to put cover crops on. We did another one with DJI where we seeded cover crops into pumpkin squash. There's no way you can drive an implement into mature pumpkin squash and not cause a huge amount of damage. This little robot here, the yellow thing, is a nightmare. It's the first time I saw it. And this is a concept that some students developed at one of the universities. And so again, gyroscopic, it changes in its track width. You can hook up different sensors, different implements. So think of the applications that might have in your agricultural context. And then my final piece of the clip is I'm the compaction guy at the ministry with my partner, Alex Berry. And I want to show you something that just blew my mind when I saw it. And think about all of the struggles we have. Do we buy tracks or tires? Each has advantages and disadvantages. How on earth do you make those decisions? Well, maybe the future will mean you don't have to, as this next clip will show you in a second. So it's coming out of military research, but it's extremely intriguing from an agriculture perspective. So think of a big trailer, a big manure spreader. Tracks are awful in that context because of how much weight you got to carry on the road, but wheels can be problematic in the field. So if you could change the tracks, wow, what an amazing opportunity. So that's what I have for you today.
Ian, as usual, thank you very much. And we really appreciate you squishing a lot of information into a small space. You were very creative. when I told him he only had a little bit of time, I said, "Oh, well, you can do it. I have the faith in you." As you can see, as innovation comes into play into agriculture, it's being a big piece. It's trying to be what happens if we can't get help in the field? What happens, what we can do? How can we be leaders in the forefront? And the biggest piece is, what's the best place to put our money behind? And there's a lot of questions, a lot of technologies. I know for the growers in the marsh and even in Simcoe, if it works in the muck, it works anywhere is everybody's philosophy. So we're always willing to see how this goes and where we can go. I see one question here for you, Ian, and it says, can you comment on the impacts of cyber risks as it relates to the ag industry? What kind of threats against rural businesses are you concerned about, and how do these impacts impact a farm's ability to grow its business? That's a big, long question for you.
It is, and it's a question that we haven't spent any time in because I guess we've relied on the companies and other layers of government that have that responsibility to worry about. Our concerns are more the safety concerns. Will it stop when it gets to the end of the field, or will it end up in the ditch? If some child runs out in front of it, will it stop, or will it run the poor little kid over? All these types of things are the sort of the areas that we're concentrating on. I really don't have the expertise at all to comment on the cybersecurity. All these ones that we were doing, yes, they're connected to the internet, but they can be disconnected from the internet as long as they have access to the GPS in terms of doing the work. So you program the unit to go and do its thing. It's not attached to the internet. Some of it will be. It's such a mixed bag right now in terms of how that all is going to shake out. But I get your question.
And thank you for that comment. Now, as we go forward and as we're going through things, if this is I think this is a really big topic that we probably should put on the agenda for next year. If anybody has anything in specific due to technology, please let Robin, myself, or put it in the chat that we can keep notes as we're planning for next year. Ian, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. There's a couple comments in the chat there for you, and we really appreciate everybody listening to this. Again, thank you for squishing it through. So the next piece, and I'm going to apologize now. I know that we're going to run a little bit over, and we want to thank everybody for sticking along with us. Everything that we've put into this smaller piece of time is really important information that everybody's been asking about. So we tried to figure out how do we squish everything together. So if you can stick with us to the end, we really appreciate it. Now I'm going to go to one of everybody's favorite topics, is funding. And one of my favorite people to deal with in Omnipower is Carolyn. Whenever she sees my number, I'm sure she runs the other way and says, "Oh no, the marsh is driving me crazy again," or "No, a farmer in Simcoe is driving me crazy." But you know what? She's great at what she does. Becky is great at what they do. Between the two of them, without Carolyn and without Becky Breeden, we wouldn't be able to get the support we need for the farmers when it comes to programs and funding. So we'll let you go forward with this.
Thank you, Jody, and what a great program today. So I'm going to go over really quickly some resources for agricultural producers, and then I've invited Robin Brown, who is works with Ontario Soil Crop Improvement Association, to talk about some specific funding programs that are open currently. So the first is through the WSPS. So this is some professional advice and consulting services that can support your COVID-19 needs. So your workplace may be eligible for 2 days of services tailored to your needs. It's up to $2,000, and this is available until March 15th. So you can, we will share, I provided the slides to Becky and Robin, and they'll be able to share these afterwards, so you have the links. But it'll essentially help with some of the safety plans that Jody and some of the folks have talked about earlier today. And it could support that, but it's only available to March 15th. The next one, the program's actually closed, but I leave it up there because if you've applied, you have till February 25th to get your paperwork in. So this is the Enhanced Agri-Food Workplace Protection Program, and this is a program that provided funding if, say, you were looking at making some modifications to make your workplace safer for your workers. It played some funding for that. There was some funding around if you had an outbreak in your workplace and dealing with that outbreak. So if you applied for that and you don't have all your documents in, you have until February 25th, so on Friday of this week, to get those receipts in. And this program is interesting because it's not, you don't have to sort of be approved. If you have eligible expenses and you put the application in and you're able to provide the supporting documentation, it's sort of a refund for what you've spent. So it's a fairly simple process. There's a resource as well on a safety plan builder. That's not funding specific, but it is a resource that'll help you if you need to develop a safety plan, which is often a prerequisite for some of the funding programs that we're talking about. You can go along and can check, do you have employees? Are they inside? Are they outside? And by the time you're done, when you check the boxes, you can print or pull a PDF of the actual plan. Next is AgriCorp. The insurance deadline has been extended, so that is available. And we also have some mental health resources for farmers. I'm going to not go into that because Lindsay spent a great time around that. Next is a registry for international agricultural workers. So that registry is available. There's a link there. And along with that, there's 5,500 free HEPA filters that are available for those with people living in congregate settings. There's some additional resources as well on the right side. So now I'm going to turn it over to Robin Brown, another Robin Brown from OSCIA, and Robin will provide information for you on some specific funding programs for producers right now.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share with you today some of the opportunities available to farmers in Ontario. So I'll just enter full screen. Can someone give me the okay that you can see programs, cost share opportunities?
It's all there. You're good.
Okay, thank you. Good. It's always good to know. I am one of Ontario's Soil and Crop Improvement Association's field staff as a workshop leader, and I happen to live just outside of Lindsay and farm full time. I really appreciate all of the information that's been shared in this forum to date, and know that it's of great value to educate the political leaders who are with our group today, but also the farmers in the community. And so the Ontario Soil and Crop Improvement Association indeed is a grassroots organization. We have been recognized as being sort of the leaders in program delivery or specializing in program delivery. And so because of that, we act as third-party delivery for the federal and provincial dollars available to agriculture for a number of different programs. So that's what I'm going to focus on today as we go through this presentation. There have been available over 40 different project categories. I'm not going to go into detail about the specifics, but what I do want to do is mention that we do have some educational opportunities. So those are really the ticket to open the door to the cost share programs that are available to farmers in Ontario. So the Environmental Farm Plan is one of our key workshops, has been adopted across the province nationally and internationally as well. So very well tried, tested, and true program, and a lot of them are farmers indeed have completed those environmental farm plans. They do need to be current every 5 years to tap into the federal provincial money that's available to farmers. We also have a business planning workshop called Growing Your Farm Profits, obviously to look at business supports for making your farm successful in the long term. Sort of that financial management is a big piece of that, but not all of it. Business planning, goal setting, those kinds of things. And we additionally have a biosecurity workshop that opens the doors for cost share on animal health, disease control, and prevention. So this is just a screenshot of our page from our website, indicating that we do have a whole host of programs available to farmers in Ontario. That's really easy to read. It clearly says which ones are open and closed. The biggest pot of money that we've been delivering over the last 5 years is through the Canadian Agricultural Partnership. I've seen that logo on a number of other slides today. So money for agriculture, and we at Ontario Soil and Crop help to get that out to our grassroots farmers. It is currently closed. Negotiations, in my understanding, are happening now for the next 5-year agreement, and I'm really looking forward to see what that looks like. I did want to highlight that the Species at Risk Farm Incentive Program, the further down the list there, will be opening on March the 14th. So projects on farm to support species at risk, really those stewardship themed projects, and I'll have a slide about that. Species at Risk Partnership on Agricultural Lands. It opened a couple of weeks ago, closed on Friday, fully allocated in short order, and then again, those workshops. So the Canadian Agricultural Partnership, by far the biggest pot of money. It is a 5-year federal provincial agreement, and we've been rolling this out to farmers in Ontario over the last 4 years. So those 5th-year projects approvals have just gone out. So farmers will be working on those projects over the next year. If you're a farm that produces agricultural commodities in Ontario, you have your farm business number, you have a premise ID, and your project meets the requirements, then it's not hard to apply. There are 3 priority areas within this big Canadian Agricultural Partnership. Now, I did indicate that it is closed at the moment, but it's been relatively the same from one 5-year agreement to the next. And so I thought it was certainly warranted to share with you that there are 3 key pillars. One around economic development, looking at supporting farm business analysis, so farm financial assessments, cost reduction, some marketing opportunities, and productivity, a big one on labor productivity enhancement. So building technology into helping those businesses be successful. A very, very popular category. Environmental stewardship's been around forever, supporting projects on healthy soils and improving water quality. Not rocket science, but incredible and impactful projects happening across the province. And then a 3rd pillar, really looking at livestock and plant health. So helping farmers to support on-farm animal health projects, handling traceability, food safety, plant health, lots and lots of opportunities for farmers. So those economic development projects, very popular. Environmental stewardship, even more popular, especially around those compaction issues. So here we've got an image of one of those technology improvements on farm that Ian was showing us a moment ago, adopting cover crops, windbreaks, tree planting, anything around soil health and water quality is likely going to be an eligible project, obviously helping with sustainability for our farms long term. Then again, with protection and assurance categories, whether it's production of those edible crops that are maybe a higher risk from a food safety perspective and adopting better practices on farms and in greenhouses, animal health and welfare. And again, technology comes into play with those protection and assurance categories as well. So the programs that we offer outside of the Canadian Agricultural Partnership, where we find funding from other ministries, really, come into play with programs such as Species at Risk Partnership on Agricultural Land. So that is money available from the federal government, and then the Species at Risk Farm Incentive Program, money from our provincial government. And just yesterday announced that the On-Farm Climate Action Fund has Soil and Crop has been selected as one of 12 organizations to help administer some additional federal money to help farms address climate change. So we're really looking forward to hearing more about what that actually looks like. But the real stewardship themed projects available to farmers, one called Species at Risk Partnerships on Agricultural Lands. The landowner would be required to sign a conservation agreement, and these projects are really targeted very specifically around 12 of the species that are on the at-risk list. So from a loggerhead shrike right through the American badger, rusty patch bumblebee, monarch. So a lot of farms just have these species anyway, and so there's some great funding support running right up to 50%, up to maximum of 20,000 across types of projects that are often on the action plans that these farmers complete at their environmental farm plan. These actions maybe aren't always at the top of the priority list, and so there is certainly funding to help them adopt these practices, which include, for those who have livestock or are harvesting hay, there's a delayed haying option in this program. So moving on to Starkvip, which will be opening in just a few short weeks, targeting all species on the at-risk list. There is a tiered approach to the funding on this particular program, up to a maximum of $20,000 per farm business across 13 different best management practices categories for projects such as specific habitat structures, but it could go over into forest management type projects, so excluding livestock from those sensitive areas, enhancing those woodlots with better plantings, maybe getting rid of some invasive species, dog strangling vine, thorn, maybe some water best management practices, excluding livestock from those sensitive areas, and then some grassland habitat as well. So here's the climate on-farm climate action fund, a press release right from yesterday, where Soil and Crop is one of 12 organizations helping farmers to adopt practices such as cover cropping, equipment to manage better nitrogen applications on cropland, rotational grazing, and we're looking forward to seeing what that looks like and how we are going to be the delivery agents for that. And I'll wrap it up here. If you have any questions, I'll pop it into the chat as well. Our website, and we have field staff right across the province. I'm happy to share information about the things that we offer at Ontario Soil and Crop for the marsh growers. We have a couple of other field staff. I know we've worked with Shannon. I see Shannon from Nottawasaga over the years with partnering on combined funding for farmers to help them maximize the dollars available to them for on-farm projects. So thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing this to us, both ladies. Thank you for all the information. Everybody I know in Simcoe, all the farmers are always looking for funding. I also do know that year-end's happening for the government and they have to review, and whatever money's left they may bring forward. We are currently working with OFA, OFVGA, Minister Mulrooney's office, Minister Thompson's office to basically try to get as much funding as we can for agriculture in these times, and we appreciate everybody at the table working together to get these funds and these important pieces out. Everybody, as you can see on this call today, everybody plays a piece in agriculture, and everybody will say, well, you know, I asked a question and I don't think it's important. All those questions are important. Everything going forward, it's important at the end of the day that they hear from the farmers. We as associations and representatives can keep asking the questions, but it's always great hearing from the farmers as well. So keep those questions coming. I will see if there's any questions in here at all. The only thing I see is we're being asked, and I know Robin's going to say, the other Robin Brown, we have two Robin Browns, will be sharing the deck with everybody as we go forward, and as well as we'll try to put it on our website as well so people can directly go back to it here. So at this time, I'm going to ask if there's any questions for any of the speakers that we still have with us or anything going forward. And also, again, I'm going to throw it out to you. As our group meets every year, we always sort of look at each other and say, what's pertinent, what's here? But it's important to hear from the farmers. It's important to hear from the farmers in Simcoe. As we all work together to get through this, to get the information that you guys need to keep going with your farms, to keep feeding Ontario and Canada and the world. Every farmer in Simcoe plays an important piece, and we want to make sure that those supports are there. So, not seeing any questions, I'm going to bring Martin forward from Nottawasaga. And without Nottawasaga Futures, this forum would never happen, and we want to thank them from the bottom of our hearts, from all the farmers, for all the support that they put through. Without Martin and Robin, we don't know where we'd be. I know through the pandemic, you were very instrumental in helping farmers with information they needed for their businesses, and we really appreciate that. So with that, I believe Martin's here. We'll turn it over to him.
Thanks, Jody. That's a great introduction. Thank you. So at this, good morning, everybody. My name is Martin Kuzma, and I am the CEO of Nottawasaga Futures. Nottawasaga Futures is an independent nonprofit corporation. Our 11-member volunteer board of directors is comprised of community members representing the 5 municipalities that make up South Simcoe. Nottawasaga Futures was created to identify, develop, and coordinate projects and initiatives to support the varied economic needs of the communities which make up our region. One of the events that we are most proud of is our annual AgKnowledge Forum. This information sharing and networking event supports the agricultural community in order to increase the sustainability of this sector and to enhance opportunities for existing food producers within the region. At this point, I would like to extend a special thank you to Jody Mott and Becky Breeden for moderating our event, Leah Ems and the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, Paul Maurice and the Simcoe County Federation of Agriculture, the County of Simcoe Economic Development Office, the Holland Marsh Growers Association, to all of our speakers, and everyone for attending this year's forum. Just some housekeeping issues before I say my goodbyes. Just a reminder to everyone to complete your evaluation form, which you will receive through your email after the event. And at this point, I want to introduce Robin Brown from our office. Robin Brown has been responsible for all the background work required to pull off this event this year. So thank you, Robin. Robin will now draw some lucky names for a few prizes that have been donated by our sponsors this year. So Robin, you please may.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks everyone for attending. It was a great forum, lots of information, and I will get everything out within the next couple of days. We have some handouts and we have some slide presentations. We had 3 prizes generously donated by Simcoe County. So we've done the draw, and our winners are Dave Ritchie and Rick Bailey and Tom Mills. So we have all male winners today. So you've each won a gift certificate to a local restaurant. So I'll be in touch with you, and you can pick your restaurant and we'll make that happen. So that's it for me. And thanks again, everyone. And please do complete the evaluation form that I send out. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin, for doing that. And I would like to actually put a thank you to Becky Breeden. She is our economic person for the Simcoe County. She's our right hand. If you guys need any kind of anything, she's always there for you. So please also reach out to Becky. And Becky, thank you for taking the time to be the background of the technology person on this today. We really appreciate it. Robin, as usual, we couldn't have done this without you. I know that you push us together in a short space of time, and we really appreciate it. To everybody on the call, please, thank you for taking the time out today. We very much appreciate it. Hopefully next year at this time, we'll all be having coffee together and smiling and having a beautiful view of some beautiful surroundings, as opposed to, not that I don't love seeing everybody's face, I would just love to see you all in person. As again, I reach out, we're here, Holland Marsh is at the south end of Simcoe, but as everybody knows on this call, we've reached out and helped farmers throughout Simcoe, and we're always here for anybody, as well as anybody of the resources that we've had here. Thank you again to Minister Mulrooney and Minister Duddle for stopping by today, as well as for those who have sent greetings, and also to all of our counselors who supported us today. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.